everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful skirt. The top is for next time. Today we're going to focus on the skirt. This is an original design from 2022, and for my first version of it I made it in black, and today we're going to use a mustard yellow just for visibility of the stitches. So let's jump right into the materials. So for the materials I used this same exact color. It's robin and it's a fingering weight yarn. If you would like to substitute, I would recommend Performance Yarn Cotton 8. This has the same exact aspects as the robin. So if you can't get a hold of this, I'll be recommending that yarn in the description box below, so that you can grab yourselves a substitute if you're looking for one. And then I'm also using a 3.5mm crochet hook. This 3.5, mine is a plastic hook. And then I'll also need a pair of scissors and a measuring tape. Another thing that you'll need is a darning needle to weave in your ends. And that's basically it. If you would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops, and I'll be leaving a link on the screen as well as the description box. Alright, so you're going to grab your crochet hook and you're going to start off with a slip knot. And you're going to make a chain that can wrap around your hips when stretched. For me, I'm starting off with a chain of 165, and that chain should be a multiple of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're considering a multiple of 5, meaning whatever number of chains that you consider, that number should be perfectly divisible by 5. So let me go ahead and make mine, and I'll be back to show you what to do next. Alright guys, I started with a chain of 165, and this could wrap around the hip circumference that I am considering, which is about 37, 38. So I don't want it to be so tightly fitted or loosely fitted. So this was just enough. And you're going to make sure that your chain is not twisted, and you're going to slip stitch into the very first chain that you made. This is going to form a ring, as you can see here. So if you stretch out your work like this, it should be able to give you half of your hip circumference in order for this skirt to fit when you wear it. So you're going to make a chain of 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this counts as a double crochet, chain 1. Into the same exact chain, you're going to go in there with a double crochet. So this will create our very first V stitch. Now you're going to make a chain of 3, skip over 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a V stitch into the next chain. So you yarn over, skip over the 4 chains, and into the next chain you're going to place a double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet into the same exact chain. So this is our second V stitch. Our first V stitch is here. Now we have a second one. Now you're going to make a chain of 3, skip over 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a V stitch into the 5th chain. Okay, chain 3, skip 4 chains, and a V stitch into the 5th chain. 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. So a V stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. You're going to repeat this all the way around. Chain 3, skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same chain. So repeat this all the way around until you have 5 chains left on your round. This is round 1. Actually, chain 3, skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, V stitch into the next chain. All right, so we've made it all the way around and I have a total of 4 chains left on my round. I'm going to make a chain of 3 and skip over those last 4 chains, 1 2 3 4, and go into the 3rd chain of the first chain 4 of the round and make a slip stitch. So that's how we wind up. So for this design, I'm going to be working in the same direction as the previous round. So once I slip stitch, I'm going to go, for round 2, I'm going to go into the very first V-stitch in the chain 1 space here and make a slip stitch there, and then make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then into the same space, I will double crochet. So this counts as our very first V-stitch. And now for round 2, we are going to place a V-stitch in each V-stitch. So chain 3, V-stitch into the next V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. So you're going to place a double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. Then chain 3, go into the next V-stitch and place a V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So you can see how the V-stitches are on top of the V-stitches from the previous round. You're going to repeat this, chain 3, V-stitch in the V-stitch from the previous round. And by now you know what a V-stitch is. Chain 3, V-stitch into the next V-stitch. 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet. So this is what we are going to have. So repeat this all the way around, chain 3, V-stitch into the next V-stitch until you come towards the end of the round, and I'll show you how to wind up. So the yarn may be a little bit thin, but it will give us the best results in terms of a lightweight look. All right, so we're coming to the end of our round 2, and I've just placed a V-stitch in the very last V-stitch of the previous round. Now you're going to make a chain of 3 and then slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the first chain 4 of the round. So you count from the base 1 2, and into the 3rd chain you insert your hook, pull through all, and that's a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the first chain 4. So this is the round that you're going to keep repeating until we get the length of the skirt that we want. If you want your skirt to be maxi length, go ahead and make as many rounds as you wish. If you want yours to be mini, just keep repeating round 2 until you have your desired length. I'll be letting you know how many rounds that I ended up doing. So don't forget, the beginning of the round is slip stitch in the very first V-stitch and then make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet into the same exact V-stitch. So this will count as our very first V-stitch of round 3, and then repeat the same exact process, chain 3, V-stitch into the next V-stitch. Just repeat that all the way around, just like we did for round 2, and you'll be seeing your skirt growing into something that looks like this. So keep working until you get your desired length, and I'll be back in my next clip. All right, so we repeated round 2 until we got the length of the skirt that we wanted, and that is a total of 77 rounds. You can go as long as you want or as short as you want, depending on the length of the skirt you want. So this is how far we've gone. Now we're going to go onto the upper part along foundation chain, and you're going to create a waistband. So you're going to make a slip knot and attach in a chain for space. Go into any chain space and attach your yarn, and then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet, and go into the same space with 2 more double crochets. Actually 3. Just place 3 more double crochets, and then into the next space you're going to go in there with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and continue to place 3 double crochets in each and every chain space. You should notice that I am using a double strand for the waistband. So continue all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of the round to show you how to end up. Alright, so we've come to the end of the round, and I've just placed 3 double crochets in the last chain space, and I'll go into the top of the first chain 3 and insert my hook and pull through all. That's a slip stitch. So that's how we wind up round 1 of the waistband. So for round 2 you're going to make a chain of 3 and then front post double crochet in the next stitch. So you yarn over, go around the stitch and push it to the front, and then double crochet as usual. That's a front post double crochet, and then back post double crochet into the next stitch. So yarn over, go back and push the stitch to the back and double crochet as usual. So keep alternating between a front post double crochet and a back post double crochet all the way around, and this is going to start creating a ribbed effect for our waistband. Alright, so we've come to the end of round 2 of the waistband, and I've ended with a front post double crochet, but it doesn't matter whether you end with a back post or a front post double crochet. So you're going to go into the top of the first chain 3 and insert your hook, pull through all. That's a slip stitch, and this marks the end of round 2. Now for round 3, which is the final round of the waistband, you're going to just repeat round 2. So you just make a chain of 3, and you're going to place a front post double crochet in each front post double crochet and a back post double crochet in each back post double crochet. So if you have a front post in the next stitch, then you place a front post. This is going to maintain the ridges of the ribbing of the waistband to be in a straight line. So I'm going to keep alternating between front post and back post, making sure that I place a front post in each front post and a back post in each back post double crochet all the way around. And you can go ahead to repeat this round as many times as you wish, depending on the thickness of the waistband that you want for your piece. For me, this is going to be my very final round, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. So you can see how the ribbing is much more emphasized. So we've come to the end of round 3, and I'm placing a front post double crochet in my very last stitch. It doesn't matter whether it's a front or back post. And then you're going to go into the very first chain 3 at the top, and you're going to place a slip stitch. So here you're going to make a chain of 1, and you're going to cut your yarn, pull through, and that marks the end of the waistband. Now we are going to make a drawstring. You're going to grab your yarn and make a very long chain. I'm going to make a chain of about 200, and we're going to weave it in and out of the middle round of the waistband to make it adjustable, to either make it tighter or loose. All right, I have my chain of 200. I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn, pull through, and we are going to put it in and out of every 2 stitches of the middle round of the waistband. So I'm going to get my darning needle and thread the end of my chain, and then I'm going to turn my work to the front because that's where I want to tie the knot, at the front of the skirt, making sure that the seam line is in the middle. And then you're going to go in and out of every 2 stitches of the middle round of the waistband. Alright, so when you make it all the way around, you're going to leave out a few stitches in between the 2 tails of the drawstring. These are going to be able to adjust the waistband to either make it tight or loose, depending on the fitting that you're going for. So you're going to make a knot here, and at this point you're done. You can go ahead and cut off the excess yarn on the drawstring, just like that, or you can attach tassels or put a shell or a bead. You can accessorize this point. Alright guys, now that we are done with the base piece of our design, we are going to start creating the layers that are going to be on top of the skirt. And to do that, you're going to get your yarn and you're going to turn your work upside down. I'm going to turn my work to the back side, not on the side that has the drawstring. So on this back side, and I'm going to attach my yarn, still using a 3.5mm crochet hook. And we're going to attach our yarn into the first row of the V-stitches. So get any V-stitch and you're going to go onto the side. You see, this is the first row of the V-stitches. I'm going to go in here like this on the side of the V-stitch of the next row, and I'm going to attach my yarn here, then make a chain of 3 and then place 2 more double crochets on this side of the V-stitch of the new row. So on this side you're going to place 2 more double crochets to make a total of 3 double crochets, because the chain of 3 counts as one of the double crochets. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, and then you're going to go onto this side of the V-stitch. You see the V-stitches here, so the 3 double crochets are placed on this side, and then the V-stitches here, and then on this side you're going to place 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And just like that, we've created a shell. And then you're going to make a chain of 3 and repeat that same process for the next V-stitch. So we have a V-stitch here. So on this side, you place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets on this side of this V-stitch. So let's go in with 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then make a chain of 2 and then skip over the V-stitch of the new row or the next row, and then on this side you're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. So that's all that we are going to do, and you're going to end up creating a layer of shells on top of the V-stitches that we already have. So continue, chain 3, and then a shell into the next V-stitch, and by now you know where to place the stitches of the shells. 3 double crochets, chain 2, push the stitches of the V-stitch of the new row onto the side, and then place 3 more double crochets. So it's like we're placing a shell into the same V-stitch, but one on this side of the V-stitch of the new row, and then the next group of 3 double crochets goes onto the opposite side. So you're going to repeat this all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 1. Chain 3, a shell into the next V-stitch, Alright guys, we've made it all the way around, and you should notice that the shell round is facing down. That's exactly what we want. That's the reason why we turned our piece upside down, so that we can work the shells while they are flowing downwards. So you'll be seeing the layer that we've just done facing down. So I'm placing my last shell into the last V-stitch. So I'm going to make a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then place a shell into the last V-stitch, just like we've been doing for all the other shells. So chain 2, and then move the V-stitch of the next row to the side, and then get into this space and place the last 3 double crochets of the round. So I hope you can see this more clearly. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 3 and slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round. And this is what you're going to have. This is the first layer of the shells, and this is row 1 of the first layer. So we're going on to round 2. Actually, this is round 1, not row 1. You're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, slip stitch into the next, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space of the first shell of the previous round, and then make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet. Into the same space, you're going to place 2 more double crochets to make a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as one of the stitches. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the same chain 2 space. So that way we have placed a shell into the first shell of the previous round, and the shells are placed into the chain 2 spaces. So this is the first shell, chain 3, and then into the chain 2 space of the next shell, you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Okay, chain 3, a shell into the chain 2 space of the next shell. So you're going to repeat this all the way around until towards the end of the round, and I'll show you how to wind up this round, and then I'll give you the next instructions once I'm done with this round. So this is how round 2 is going to look like, and the layer is getting longer. Let me show you what I mean by that. The layer that we are creating right now is getting longer. So this was round 1, and now this is round 2. Go all the way around until the end of round 2, and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so we've come to the end of round 2, and I've just placed my last shell into the chain 2 space of the last shell of the previous round. Now I'm going to make a chain of 3 and slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round, just like we did for round 1. and this is what it looks like. Round 2 is finished, round 2 of the shells, and we're going to repeat round 2 again and again until we have the thickness of the top layer that we want for our skirt. I'm going to just keep working and I'll let you know how many rounds that I ended up doing. I think I'll be between 8 and 10. I'm not yet sure, but somewhere around there, and then we shall see what to do for the next layer and what to consider before we go on to the next layer of shells. This is the very first layer and it's going to be made of about 8 to 10 rounds, and then we shall skip a few rounds of the V-stitch and create another layer like that all the way down the skirt. So I'm going to finish up my first layer and I'll show you what it will end up looking like. Just repeat round 2. So you slip stitch in each of the next stitches, working in the same direction as the previous round, and then slip stitch into the chain to space of the V-stitch of the shell, sorry, the chain to space of the first shell of the previous round, and then make a chain of 3, 2 more double crochets into the same chain to space to make a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as a stitch. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the same chain to space. So this is our very first shell of the new round, which is round 3. So you're going to repeat the same instructions as round 2 and make a total of about 8 to 10 rounds. I'll let you know how many I decided to make, and then we shall pick it up from there. Alright guys, I ended up doing a total of 10 rounds for the shell stitch, and you can see this layer flaring out of the inner layer. I'm still working on my 10th round, but I wanted to first demonstrate and also explain what to do next before I finish up, because I'm running out of battery. So once you finish your 10th round, or however thick you want the shell stitch to be, you're going to flip over your work like this, and then you're going to count a total of 15 rows or rounds of the V-stitch. So from the one that has the shells, leave that one alone. We're going to count from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then on the 16th, you're going to attach your yarn and repeat the same exact process. So this layer is going to stop here, and then the next layer will start from here. So from the 15th, right from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then the 16th. Sorry, you count 15 rounds, and then the 16th round is the one that's going to get the next layer. So these ones are going to be like this, and then now we're going to start a new layer of the shell stitch. And then once you're done with the same exact number of rounds for the shell stitch layer, you count 16 rounds from there, and then attach another one, then keep doing that all the way down. So I'll be back to show you what mine looks like once all the layers are done. But for now, I have the very first layer of the shells, and I'm on the last round, which is round 10. I'm going to finish it and then attach for the next round, and then the next round all the way down my skirt until when you feel like the layers of the shells are enough. So when it comes to the front side of the skirt, this is what I have. You can see the shell stitch kind of popping outwards. So you're going to have these layers strategically placing themselves across the skirt all the way down. And then I'll be back to show you what mine looks like after the different layers. Alright guys, this is how our piece looks like without the fan stitch at the base of the layers. After working all the different layers of your skirt, this is what you're going to have. And now we're going to go ahead and transform this into something even cuter. We're going to create a fan stitch at the base of the layers to give it some more definition as well as add to its beauty. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so I decided to place an edging on the layers, at the base of the layers. So after your 10th round of the shells, we're now going to create an edging at the base of the layer. And to do that, you're going to go into any chain 3 space and attach your yarn. Alright, so you attach your yarn in any chain 3 space and then place a single crochet into the same space. And then go into the chain 2 space of the shell with a total of 10 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So once you're done with your 10 double crochets, you're going to go into the next chain 3 space with a single crochet. And this is how the front stitch is going to look like. And then we're going to go into the next chain 2 space of the next shell with a total of 10 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all in the chain 2 space. You place your 10 double crochets and then single crochet into the next chain 3 space. So you can see how the fan stitch looks very beautiful on the edge, the bottom layer of the bottom of the layer of the shell stitch. So continue to go into each chain 2 space with a total of 10 double crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then single crochet into the next chain 3 space. You're going to do that all the way around until you come back to the beginning of the round. This is the final round of the layer, this very first layer. So I've just placed my last 10 double crochets into the chain 2 space of the last shell of the round, and now you're going to go into the very first single crochet of the round and place a slip stitch, and then make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Alright, so this is what everything looks like. You can go ahead and get rid of the loose ends. I'm just going to tie a knot, and this is what the base of our layer is going to look like. Now, the fact that we are going to do several layers, you're going to go ahead and make the same exact number of rounds for the shell stitch. For my case, this is 10 rounds, and then a fan stitch at the base of the layer, and this is what it's going to look like. You're going to go ahead and do the same for the next round all the way down as you continue to work your layers at several points, and then I'll be back to show you what everything looks like in the end.